Hi, we're here for a third science fiction review. Now, I wasn't really planning on making a third science fiction review, but it came to my attention in December that I should make a new one. I guess some people who watch me only for the science fiction review, which I don't blame them really, because that's their interest. And I don't expect for this video to have a great big mass appeal. It's just a little thing about one of my hobbies, and that's reading science fiction, which is something I've done since I was about 7 or 8 years old, when there were books in the library with little rocket ships and little things orbiting them stuck to the spine of the book, and it was like the kids section. And so things I started reading was Robert A. Heinlein kind of juvenile novels about, boys having rocket ships and families moving to Mars and things like that. That was just exciting for a 7 or 8 year old like I was. Or was I 9? I don't remember. Well, YouTube has slowed down somewhat over the last couple of years, and I looked at my older science fiction reviews, like what's on the screen there, and the last time I made one was was it January? I think it was January. Let's check here. No, December 30th of 2010. So 2 years and a month ago. And I realized that because YouTube has been slowing down, I have actually unconsciously or subconsciously been reading more than I did for the 4 years before that, when YouTube was a busier place. I take books to work. When I've run out of videos to watch that I'm subscribed to, I pull a book out and I start to read. And I also read to fall asleep at my bedside, and sometimes when I wake up, I pick up a book at my bedside. And it works out to an average of about 3 books a month. So in the last 25 months, I have read some 75 or so books, believe it or not. And 75 books is quite a stack. There they are on the floor there. Well, let's have a look and see if any of them are memorable. I mean, I do remember reading them, and some of them, for some reason I read them, but read them only mechanically, in that my eyes saw the words on the page, but somehow they didn't register on the brain, either because I was in an emotional state where I wasn't receptive, or the book was crap. And so no matter what, I would doggedly read on but not absorb anything until I got to the end, and then I'd breathe a big sigh of relief going, I made it through that one. And then I would grab another book from the shelf and start reading, and it would be effortless, and it would be a pure joy. And such pure joys come about when I read things like, well, let's see here. I just finished reading this one here, Rollback by Robert J. Sawyer. It's a story of a man who was he was in his 80s. He's like 87 years old, and his wife discovered artificial, or not artificial, but extraterrestrial intelligence through a radio telescope. And his wife was also 87 at the time, and she was the astronomer who had sent a previous message to the aliens, and the aliens sent a message back to her. And they wanted her to be the one to decode the next message. So a rich industrialist anti-aged her, or rolled her back to an earlier age. And she also specified that her husband should go back too, to become younger again. So they were both went through the process of going back in age to the age of 25, but hers didn't work, and he got younger, and she didn't. And so the story goes on from there. Very entertaining read. Robert J. Sawyer never disappoints me. Let's see. The Tricon Deception, Ben Bova. Ben Bova teamed up with Bill Pogue the astronaut to write this book, which is basically about a space station and how things go wrong on it, and the whole thing becomes a total mess. Very entertaining. Ben Bova, one of my favorite authors, never disappoints. Always thrilling, mainly because his villains or his bad guys are such assholes. Let's see now. You know, I read this one just recently. It is The Sky People, S.M. Stirling. S.M. Stirling is usually good. This I wouldn't say is his best work, but it's like an alternate history, and imagine Venus and Mars to be populated by humans who were not put there by us. No, it was okay, but not the best. A big surprise I discovered on the shelf some years ago, maybe 5 years ago, Robert Butner. Now, Robert Butner wrote this series called, well, Orphanage is the name of this one. And you know what? This was entertaining. Even though there was some military stuff involved, it's a fast read. It's a page-turner. And you always want to know what the orphan goes through next. Yeah, that was good. That was a big surprise, and I devoured 3 of the books in no time at all. Another one that I was looking forward to reading a lot, this one here, Variable Star. It's a concept that was started out by Robert A. Heinlein, my all-time favorite author. Of course, I've been reading him since I was 7 or 8 years old. And the book was outlined by Robert Heinlein and then written by Spider Robinson, because it was suggested at a science fiction convention that this project had been started by Heinlein but never completed. And of course, someone said to Robinson, "You should write it," and that's what ended up happening. And Variable Star, I can't say enough good stuff about this novel. I say, if you can find a copy, read it. It's just, yeah. It kind of made me examine what are the real values. What's really important? What's really important? I think it has to do with a man's integrity. Can he be bought? And how a man, you know, you're tempted by millions and millions and great big wealth, and then the whole human race is destroyed practically. And so, what are the real values? What's money worth to you when there's no one else around? Anyway, that's kind of the premise, although I didn't divulge any part of the story. So if you can find it, by all means, that was a good read. There's some more Kim Stanley Robinson here. 60 Days and Counting. Yeah, I like this series. It's a trilogy about global warming, about eco-disaster. Kim Stanley Robinson, one of my favorite authors, can't get enough of his books. I can't find enough of them.